What's up guys, it's me, TXC Bands, and I'm back with another review of One Piece. This time I'm reviewing chapter 1090, titled Admiral Kizaru. The timing of this video is a little strange and confusing this week. Usually, with most chapters, I read the raw scans before the chapter officially drops, but this week, the raw scans came out as far back as a week ago. But I'm waiting till now to make the actual video. This chapter, it follows up directly where the last one left off with the conversation between like the Straw Hats and all the people in that room with the Gorosei. It covers a lot of like the planning and the conversations for like this future battle that's about to occur. One side being the Marines, and St. J. Garcia, and then the other side being the Straw Hats, the Vegapunks, and the Cypher Pole. Like the video and subscribe to the channel, and let's get into the chapter. So let's begin with the cover page. The cover page on this chapter is another fan request, and we see Captain Kuro reading with a couple of cats. And Kuro has not been in the story since Syrup Village, so this is a shock to see him on the cover of a chapter. It could be because he's appearing in the live action One Piece, which is just around the corner. So they might be teasing him or reminding us of his existence. We start the actual chapter with the call from the Straw Hats in the Labo phase to the Marines and the Gorosei. Since we left, Luffy has taken the transponder snail and introduces himself, and in stereotypical Luffy fashion, he introduces himself with, "I'm gonna be king of the pirates." He announces his alliance with Dr. Vegapunk and his satellites, and he commands all the Marines to leave now. We see the reaction of Kizaru and some Marines to Luffy's commands, and we also see the reaction of Morgans, Vivi, and Wapol. Yep, that's right. The World Economic Journal flying ship thing with Morgans, Vivi, and Wapol is close enough to the island so that they could hear Luffy's transponder snail. So maybe they will be arriving in this arc and we'll get a reunion. The Gorosei then kindly ask Luffy how many people do they have on their side and how many people are injured. And Luffy, since he's an airhead, he is about to just give them. He starts counting out the people, but Robin, luckily, puts an end to Luffy's shenanigans and stops him from giving them valuable information. The Gorosei recognize Robin's voice because obviously they've done plenty of research on Robin. She's like a really important figure in the One Piece world. And then the call ends, and Saturn is alone with Vice Admiral Doberman, and they have a conversation about the things they must protect. There are 3 things that Saturn says are mandatory to protect. York, Punk Records, and the Mother Flame Power Plant. Doberman mentions that they still have Cypher Pole agents on the island, so we have to also protect them, right? Well, Saturn denies that, and he says that all humans are just insects. Then we return to the room in the Labo phase, where the Straw Hats and everyone else are. York is crying and saying that the Gorosei will protect her. But Nami has enough of her crying, so she smacks her with the Climate Act. And now I'll mention that Robin's injured, and Kaku and 4 of the satellites are also injured. 2 of the satellites are actually dead, those being Shaka and Pythagoras. But I'm not sure how permanent this death is because I'm sure Vegapunk can bring them back somehow. They have their consciousness in Punk Records anyway. Lilith, one of the satellites, is distraught that two of her fellow Vegapunks are dead, and Kaku, meanwhile, hears Lucci over in the corner by himself talking. Lucci just gets away with it by saying he was just talking to himself, but obviously he wasn't talking to himself. He was actually talking to Kizaru and giving them information. So while Kaku and Stussy are on the good side, it doesn't seem Lucci has joined the good side yet. Now, Usopp communicates with the Cypher Pole agents that were imprisoned in the basement. They're now free. The Straw Hats freed them, and they're now feasting on like a big meal. And some of them are already like captivated by like the kindness that the Straw Hats showed them, are already ready to give their lives for the Straw Hats. They're done with their world government roles. They want to join the Straw Hats team, but some of them are still hesitant. But with them is the Seraphim, who are all locked up in bubble prisons. And Vegapunk, he hops on, takes Usopp's place on the transponder, and he explains. So the bubbles are actually coated with like the same thing that sea prism stone is, so it prevents them from ever breaking out since they're all devil fruit users in there. They can't. S-Snake says to the Cypher Pole agents that they don't need to worry anyway, even if she did break out, because she's not going to kill them. The only person she was ordered to kill was like Vegapunk. Then Frankie, who is not stoned right now, thanks S-Snake for freeing his petrification. Which causes S-Snake to flash back to when Luffy begged her to release the petrification on his friends, and she actually listens to Luffy's begging, and she frees Frankie and the rest of the people who were stoned, which shows that the Seraphims do have a lot of emotions. In fact, the emotions overrided the commands that she was given. And Jinbei, who knows about Hancock's like crazy love for Luffy, laughs this off, saying S-Snake is such a perfect clone that she even loves Luffy. And Luffy thanks her again as she blushes. Atlas then tells Vegapunk that everything on the island is working again, but she cannot access the Frontier Dome yet. York laughs because she put a password on the Frontier Dome that only she knows. She didn't relay this information to Punk Records, so not all the Vegapunks know it. Lilith is all pissed off and ready to attack her now. And then on the other side of the room, Stussy explains that they're completely surrounded on all sides, so how are they gonna escape? And where are they gonna go anyway? Of course, Sanji is over there simping for her, but Vegapunk, he asked Nami, who is a navigator after all, what the plan is. And Nami still has a log post that they got in Wano, which points to Egghead, Winter Island, and Elbaf. Vegapunk, he points out that the northeast pointing compass is Elbaf, which Luffy and Usopp hear, and Luffy and Usopp have quite a reaction to. They start singing and like screaming because they've been waiting all the way since Little Garden to go to Elbaf. So ignoring them, Vegapunk suggests that they should use the Vega Force 1 to take the 1,000 Sunny as far as it could go. But he says that might not be far enough to escape the Marines. So here comes Frankie, who mentions that the 1,000 Sunny can actually travel a whole kilometer just flying. So Vegapunk, he's impressed that Frankie made a flying ship, and he's even more impressed when Frankie reveals that it runs on cola. After this, Vegapunk and Atlas get back to typing on the computer. I don't know what they're doing, but they're figuring out what the password is to the Frontier Dome. Now Lilith, on the other hand, is in charge of starting up the Vega Force 1 to prepare for the escape. So it's her, Luffy, Frankie, and Bonnie who run out of the lab over to where the Thousand Sunny and the Vega Force 1 is. And on the way, Bonnie talks about how nice it'll be on the ship with Sanji, who's such a strong man and a skilled cook. I don't know. Oda might be setting up a possible future relationship. And Luffy is confused by her good mood since she was crying yesterday. But Bonnie, in tsundere fashion, just denies that she was crying yesterday. And now we return to the Marines in the water, where there's confirmation that Rob Lucci has made contact. Saturn talks to Kizaru about it, and he wants Kizaru to just go through the lasers using his light powers, and Kizaru then admits that there's something that's stopping him, which is Sentomaru. Saturn just says, why don't you ignore Sentomaru? But Kizaru refuses to ignore Sentomaru because he respects him, and he respects that Sentomaru has a duty that he has to fulfill, which is protecting Vegapunk. On top of that, attacking Sentomaru will cause him to set off all the mechanized sea beast on the ships. And Kizaru, he has a plan though. We cut to all the Marines getting ready in their battle stations, and we even see like a bunch of the Vice Admirals that were shown earlier. They're also preparing. And at the same time, Luffy and Bonnie and Lilith and Frankie have arrived at the Sunny. And then Kizaru, he uses Yata no Kagami, or Yatamir in English. For those who are big Naruto fans, you might recognize this attack name because it's one of Itachi's attacks. So this move, it shoots Kizaru onto the island as a beam of light, and he passes by a sea beast, he passes through the town, and he's going straight towards Sentomaru, but Sentomaru is ready. He calls all the pacifistas and beasts to attack the ships now, and he's getting ready to defend Kizaru's attack with Haki. And he successfully stops Kizaru's attack, boasting that he has the best defense in the world. I don't know about that. And then up on the Sunny, Luffy looks afraid now because he senses Kizaru's presence on the island. And that's the end of the chapter. It was another long one due to the complicated nature of the Egghead incident. There's so much going on at once. I have a feeling that the Straw Hats won't be able to leave the island so soon. There's probably going to be a big fight that occurs. And now, especially that Kizaru started to attack. And if Luffy ends up having to fight Kizaru or Saturn, I don't know if he'll win, even in Gear 5. Whatever the case, I know that things are just going to keep escalating on Egghead, and because the narrator did refer to it as a world-shocking event, so crazy things must happen. And I don't think there's a break next week either. So if you made it all the way to the end of the video, thank you. Like and subscribe, because it will really help me out. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.